Hi, this is Myra, getting back to you with what's going on in my weight loss journey. A lot has gone on in the last couple of weeks, and I just wanted to share a couple of things with you. There has been a lot of life events going on, and I wanted to speak to you about that just because as I'm going through this journey with my weight loss, you also have to take into consideration what goes on in your life personally and the things that you deal with and the struggles that you deal with on a day-to-day basis. And sometimes there are even big life events. Within the last couple of weeks, I believe the last time I had spoken, I probably mentioned that I had lost a coworker at from work, and a couple of days, actually 3 days after that, I had lost a very close relative of mine, my uncle, and it had been very overwhelming. He was someone that we can go for a while not talking, and then we would get back together, and it would be as if nothing ever happened. And since he was pretty much 10 years my senior, he felt more like a brother. So I felt like I had lost someone very close to me, someone who had inspired me. He actually did YouTube videos, and I think one of the last times when I had last spoken to him, I had told him, I said, hey, I think you've inspired me to go on and do some videos, and I just want to thank you for that, taking me out of my comfort zone. So I just want to recognize my uncle and how he's been very impactful to me in my life. It was pretty difficult. I was able to spend time with him in his last days. He had been struggling with stage 4 lung cancer, and I had the honor and privilege of seeing him his last couple of days and spending time with him and telling him how much I loved him, and just being able to express our love to each other and just hugging each other and praying over him and just spending time and laughing with him is something that I can always take with me and remember, and he's been a blessing. I didn't think that this was going to happen, but I guess this is a part of where the struggles come in, where you realize that a lot of stuff like this can happen, and it could take a toll on you, because, you know, one of the things that you might realize is that when you deal with overwhelming situations like this, you might run to and start eating, or just start thinking, why am I even doing this and how this is affecting my life. And like I said, it has been overwhelming. As far as my weight loss journey during this time, I could say I've still been pretty consistent, but the urge to grab that candy bar, or, you know, just to do something, or just think, why the heck am I even doing this, has been overwhelming. And I've had to stop and think about it, and it has been struggling, because when you think about, you know, I looked at and I was making the mistake of getting on the scale every day and seeing the number go up and down and up and down and up and down. And it was discouraging, and, you know, just having this life event happening. And then as well, my birthday was this week, and it was kind of a little hard to celebrate it, in the sense that, you know, everyone wants to buy you a cake or invite you to eat, or just pastries and all this stuff. And you're at this point in this journey where you're like, oh my gosh, you're trying to run away from that. And to be quite honest, I don't even have a taste or a desire to have any sweets. It was just like, oh my gosh, I love the intent, and I really appreciate you wanting to celebrate with me, but just trying to explain that I don't need all that sweet stuff was kind of hard. So just explaining it and just trying to be pretty much undercover, saying, "Oh, thank you so much for celebrating my birthday and spending time with me." Like I said, I went from one very awful event and then going into celebrating my birthday. It was just like a roller coaster going up and down. And it, like I said, was overwhelming. And I think just thinking about it now is just bringing a lot of emotions. And I didn't expect to react this way at this moment, but I guess because it's just so raw and so fresh. And it also brought so many other things where I was just thinking, like, do I give up? Do I, I see these numbers going up and down and not realizing that it's because of all this stuff that's going on in my life that I needed to be just a little bit more consistent and just hang in there. And, I did. I'm not going to lie. I still continued, I still got up and I still went to go work out. I still was making the right food choices. I did have to order out this week just because they wanted to buy me lunch at work, but I was, looking at what were the right food choices and not, like when you buy a lunch and you don't even eat the full size anymore because you're not that hungry, or you just realize that I just don't need all of that. And I was able to, like I said, make better choices. So it was kind of good. It kind of took me out of my comfort zone because I was also getting used to just eating foods that I prepared and foods that I brought to work. So it was just like the challenge of when you go out to go eat, what are the food choices that you're going to make and what are you going to eat? Because, this is going to be something that I'm going to be dealing with the rest of my life. So it was an experience, and I think I'm going to be able to handle it. But like I said, with all the emotions coming at it, it was just overwhelming this week. And like I said, I was kind of discouraged when I saw the numbers, go up and down. And, I went up, I think, like 3 pounds. And then I think I'm slowly going back down to where the weight was. And I think I mentioned in my last video, I think it was 37 pounds total that I've lost. And I just want to say that's where I'm at. I really didn't see much of a change, to the point where I had also my visit with my doctor this week. And we were discussing about maybe titrating up. Something I didn't really want to do because I felt like I don't want to be dependent in increasing my dose, because the end game is to be able to lose the weight, maintain it, and to slowly, hopefully get off of this medication. If I have to stay on, then that's something that I'll have to decide, at a later time. But I just wanted to see where I can go with this. So the good thing was that I felt like I got good advice from my doctor, and she recommended that we just stay at the dosage that I'm currently at, because at the end of it all, I was in fact losing weight, just slow, which is actually a good thing, just because it will hopefully continue to stay. And we just decided that we were going to stay at the same dosage. So that was a good thing too. So like I said, a lot of things going on, and I've been watching a lot of other YouTube videos with a lot of other people who are dealing with their journeys and GLP-1s. And it's been kind of a blessing as well, because I came across different people, and I actually want to go back and comment on their videos as well, because they have been blessings and they have been words of encouragement to me a lot, because it's been real. It's been, just showing the struggle of the days when you go up and down, and when you're wondering, am I getting anything out of this? Am I getting anywhere, or what's going on, or what's the point of it all? And then just seeing that I'm not the only person that's dealing with this, and that there's a community, and I really appreciate that. I've seen a couple of girls on there. I want to say there was a Mariela 360 who's also doing a channel in Spanish as well that I was able to watch. And it's been quite encouraging. And I think Lucy and Grace, I want to give a shout out to her. And just, I really appreciate it because they were giving words of encouragement without even realizing it. And I think it was just helpful to me in my life this week. So I think I would like to maybe reach out to them, or maybe have some sort of communication, or maybe start a group or something, just because more and more I'm beginning to realize that this is a community effort as well, and we need to encourage each other and lift each other up while we're dealing with this. And with that being said, I wanted to bring in the word today that I think was right on point, because there's this roller coaster of the emotions that are going on, because life is lifing. There's things that are going on. There's the weight going up and down. There's the struggle. There are the times of discouragement. And it's just encouraging to know that God sees the effort, right? And that He's there with me during this time. And I wanted to share this passage that I just read. It's in Psalms 139, 1-3. And I just wanted to share that it's some words of encouragement. So the word says, Lord, you have searched me and known me. You know when I sit down and when I stand up. You understand my thoughts from far away. You observe my travels and my rest. You are aware of all my ways. And it's encouraging because the Lord sees me. He has searched me. He knows what's going on. And at this moment, I can be encouraged that He's seeing my struggle. He's seeing what I'm going through. He sees my effort. And even though I had quite an eventful couple of weeks, He's been there with me. And He's also lifting me up. And like I said, for such a time as this, that I happened to come across some of those YouTube videos of those ladies that were speaking, and I felt like they were speaking right into me, and I could honestly say that that was the Lord using them, encouraging me, letting me know that I am not alone, that this struggle, although it's real, I can get through it, that I can continue. And it's also given me hope that tomorrow's a new day, tomorrow's a new beginning. And if I struggle, or if I get upset or anything like that, I can wake up tomorrow knowing that I can start all over again. And it's not in vain. He's there. He's with me. He sees my effort. He sees what I'm doing. And He loves me. And I have to remember that, that He loves me and He's there for me. And I want to encourage whoever it is that needed to hear that word as well, because I feel like this is something that, we can all share. A lot of us are struggling with many things. A lot of us are struggling with things that are going on in our lives personally. It could be at work. It could be our physical lives, our health. We want to get better. We want to do better. And it's just very comforting in knowing that God sees and He's also with you. So shout out to those who have helped out, and shout out to the Lord who's encouraging, and He sees me and He's helping me and He's walking me through this journey. I pray that this word may be a blessing to you as well as it has been to me. And until the next time, take care.